Good morning to all my friends and family, and welcome to this episode of Jim's 5am Club. I'm up here on Mars Hill, adjacent to the magnificent Acropolis and Parthenon in Athens. It's Monday morning. I got up early because I know that Athens is a PM city. If you want to enjoy yourself in Athens, you need to get up early and beat the crowds. Get here before everybody else has even had breakfast. This morning, the sunrise was at 6:15, which I was able to savour and enjoy. Just over there to the right of Lykavitos, and those morning rays are most welcomed, most beautiful and very nourishing. What I would like to do today is to continue my tradition of bringing empowering stories, empowering messages, and overlaying it with beautiful backgrounds. And as you can see, can't get any more beautiful than this. People for thousands of years have been enjoying this view, so much so that the Athenians went into significant debt back in the days of Pericles, where they built this beautiful monument up the top there to free speech, where they would be able to receive the morning rays of the sun there in the east, and the rays of the sun, of course, when it was setting there in the west. But also, most importantly, a lot of people don't understand that where the sun rises is also where the moon rises as well. So in the evenings, when you had the moon rise, it would be coming up over there where the sun is. So from the Acropolis, from the Parthenon, you would get a magnificent moonrise as well, which helps me understand a little bit better why these buildings were built, where they were built, because it's all fairly strategic in terms of how it's located compared to where the sun rises, where it sets, where the moon rises, where the moon sets. Anyway, what I'd love to do today is to go on another little journey and talk about all the things that I've learnt from Anthony Robbins over the years. I'm putting together a series of hopefully 365 videos with all the things that I've learnt from the big man over the years. And today I want to talk about something which is quite profound and quite powerful. Anthony Robbins said something quite interesting at one of his seminars that I attended last year. And he said that we as humans tend to judge ourselves by what we feel that we're capable of doing. Whereas others, on the other hand, judge us on the things that we've already done. So our parents, our uncles, our aunts, our teachers, everybody else that we come into contact with, society in general, will judge us on what we've achieved rather than what we're capable of achieving and what our dreams and aspirations and goals are. So it's important to take that into consideration and to use that to our advantage, because at the end of the day, our parents, our grandparents, our uncles, our aunts, our teachers, our friends, our neighbours don't really know what we're capable of and don't really know what our dreams and what our goals are. And they're just going to be judging us on what we've done, regardless of how much it's been or how little it's been. What you've done in the past is going to be how they're going to judge you as a person and the identity that they give you. It's a little bit like a Rubik's Cube. A Rubik's Cube has lots of sides and each side has a different colour. And when you start twisting those little surfaces and start breaking up that Rubik's Cube into little cubes, all those colours get mixed up. So what Anthony Robbins is saying is that whilst people won't know all the things that we've done or that we've achieved in our lives, what they will do is they will focus on one little segment within that Rubik's Cube, and they will use that to create your identity in their eyes. So for example, if you've had a bad moment and you've been cranky, and they focus on one of those little red squares in that Rubik's Cube, they will use that little red square to project who you are as a person, even though most of the other times you may be productive in many, many ways. People always use shortcuts in order to identify and to make decisions on who people are. So in summary, once again, the big man says that we judge ourselves by what we feel that we're capable of doing, while others judge us on what we've already done. Anthony Robbins also goes on to say that we all have different trajectories. We all may go to the same school, we all may do the same subjects, we all may get the same HSC mark, we all may go to the same university, do the same course, get the same grades. But throughout our lifetime, we all have different trajectories. And we need to understand that the decisions and choices that we make, the sacrifices that we make, the investments that we make are going to influence that trajectory once we leave our educational institutions. Anthony Robbins also says that we all have our different fates, and some people give up quickly because they receive one or two instances of bad news or bad outcomes, whereas others have a greater stickability and are able to stick to things and to continue with things and fight through the negativities and build steps where others can't see, or build bridges with the rocks and the bricks that they've been given, as opposed to using those rocks and bricks as walls. So we all have at our fingertips the capacity to extend and to turbocharge our trajectory. And Anthony Robbins says that we all need to understand is that we're not going to all end up at the same place. We're all going to have a different life. Just like we've all had a different past, we're all going to have a different present, and we're all going to have a different future. And each and every person will experience different slithers of reality. And those slithers of reality are all happening in the same time and space. And we're going to use those slithers of reality regardless of what they are and how different they are to our parents and everybody else around us. We're going to use those slithers of reality to form our worldview and to use those to decide on what we're going to do, why we're going to do it, how we're going to do it, and be able to try and visualize the first, second and third level consequences of our actions or our proposed actions. But in order to make the right decisions, in order to have and to weight those slithers of reality, we need to be able to benchmark them and baseline them against other people's, both in the same time and space and from different times and spaces. Hence why we need to study history, hence why we need to read books, hence why we need to understand and relive other people's stories through their autobiographies, through their experiences, so that we can see whether or not what we're experiencing, what we're seeing in the world, in our lives, is in fact a valid reality or a distorted reality. We need to be constantly reinventing ourselves because we're living in an ever-changing world. And as I mentioned before, because we've lived a different past, a different present, I am here, you are there, and we're all going to have a different future, then we can't rely entirely on those slithers of reality that we've been able to accumulate throughout our lifetimes, because they could be limiting, they could be distorted, they could be incorrect, they may not be aligned with where we want to go. So we need to reinvent ourselves and to understand that the process of reinvention, just like the Greeks reinvented themselves time and time again through war, through sacrifice, through pain, through suffering, we need to do the same thing as well, so that we understand that the journey is more important than the destination. We need to be constantly refining what we do, what we know, and making sure that we continue to grow and develop rather than to just try and hold on to what we've got, because what we've got today is not going to get us to where we want to be tomorrow, is what the big man talks about time and time again. And to understand that people tend to glamorize and glorify their past as a way of maintaining their comfort zone. But the real challenge that we need is that we need to continue to grow and develop, and the only way you can continue to grow and develop is by changing who you are and what you've got, and not to try and glamorize and hold on to your past, but to use that as a stepping stone to be able to lean just outside your comfort zone, so that you're never feeling comfortable, so that you're continuing to put pressure on yourself, not immense pressure, but enough pressure to make progress, to change, to experience things from a different perspective. Because the other thing that Anthony Robbins says is that because we glamorize things in our own mind and we think about things, and sometimes we overthink about things, it's impossible to know if you really love or like something or someone unless you try it, unless you do the things in life, you take the journey. That is a profound point that Anthony Robbins makes, because it's only through trying and doing that you really get to experience and then be able to reflect on what you've done So what Anthony Robbins says is you don't need to do the full trip. You don't need to take the full holiday, but you do need to do a test drive with different things. And I remember doing a book summary about a year ago on a book, and I think it was entitled 365, where a woman, successful executive who was unfulfilled with her life, decided for 365 days of the next year, or of her current life, I should say, just to say yes to everything, to test drive everything, and to see where it took her. And after a year, her reflection, her lesson in life was that you gain more in life by saying yes and doing things, because it's through taking those journeys that you grow and develop, you meet new people, you gain different perspectives, you add to your inventory of slithers of reality so that you can be in a better position to make better decisions next time when a particular similar pattern represents itself in a different form. Anthony Robbins talks about the importance of having a team of advocates and validators, and to understand that we are different from each other so that we can be different for each other, and that our difference, our unique difference, is our unique advantage. It makes us special, and we need to embrace our difference and not to fear it. We need to use those differences, not to worry about them. And we need to focus on things that are going to be relevant and deliver actionable results. Anthony Robbins talks about the importance of first impressions, how it is really, really important to dress the part and to throw yourself into your identity with gusto, not to be ashamed of how you look, how you behave, and who you are, but to accept it and to throw yourself into your identity with gusto. And it's important to be able to then be able to bridge the gap between how people once saw you and how you see yourself. Society is not here to judge you. Society is not here to create your identity. Your identity is your identity. Nobody can take it away from you. Nobody can steal it from you. Nobody can reshape it for you other than yourself. And for that reason, the key message from the big man is to take your identity and to be proud of it, not to be ashamed of it, to make incremental change, to make improvements, but to also understand that each brand has a limit to how far it can be stretched, and we need to continue to be mindful of the brand that we have and to use it in a way that's going to benefit us, and not only benefit us, but to benefit those around us, our partners, our children, our parents, our families, our friends, our community. Because at the end of the day, we come into this world to add value, to give rather than take. So I think I'll leave it there. So thank you very much for joining me on this episode of Jim's 5am Club, where I come to you from this most magnificent, awesome location, and hopefully I can bring you some more episodes of all that I've learned from Anthony Robbins over the years, and hopefully get to that 365 episodes that I can publish and make available to everybody on my YouTube channel, Jim's 5am Club. Yassas, take care, and bye for now.